Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Unrestricted Sports. Today we are talking PLL Day 2. Atlas Water Dogs game just wrapped up here, and we'll be talking about that game. I'm not joined by Ben today. Um, Same with Brendan. It's just me. But Ben's thoughts are with us, and I have a couple of notes that he wanted me to share. So first off, general game notes was just an interesting dynamic at the face-off X. You had the Water Dogs being, having the slight edge, winning 14 out of 25 compared to Trevor Baptiste, 11 out of 25. Definitely interesting to note whether that was just Water Dogs performing well or Trevor Baptiste not performing well. But either way, moving on to the second note here was just the Atlas in the fourth quarter. That I believe it was either a 5-0 or a 6-0 run they went on there, which ended up winning them the game by a final score of 11-10. And it truly was a tale of two halves for the Atlas. We'll get into that. We'll get into that after this, but we'll start with the Water Dogs here and break down them. Not too much to say about them here. They had definitely an electric start out the game. And I think part of that was because of their attack. Maybe not like the highlights or the points, but more so the dynamic they created, allowing midfielders to be open. So a lot of their attack would circulate either through X or up top, which would draw in the Atlas defenders, leaving space on that opposite side. Create a lot of opportunities for the Water Dogs, and was a very interesting and consistent Water Dogs offense. Another thing with the Water Dogs was, defensively speaking now, was this Charlie Cipriano playing goalie for them. Obviously, whoever was going to start for them at goal was up for grabs. Cipriano obviously got the nod, and he showed out. He had a 59% save percentage, 1% better than Kincannon, but both goalies had spectacular games. Cipriano surprised. Kincannon proved that he's still top like he was last season. Moving on, last two notes here for the Water Dogs was this Drew Snyder injury or possibility. I don't think it's something that'll be a long thing. I think it's just something that ended his game a little bit early, but I think he'll be back in no time, ready for game 2 for the Water Dogs here coming up. Next, and the final note, and I think probably the biggest note with the Water Dogs here, was their second half. Very strong, dynamic, 8-goal first half, and then followed by what was a very slow second half. They got 2 goals in the third, and then they went on an 18-minute drought of no goals to end the game and end up losing by 1. So pretty upsetting second half there. I don't know if that was just because the Atlas defense picked it up, or if the Water Dogs offense just slowed down, kind of out of gas there at the end. But it'll be interesting to see what they can do next on Tuesday against the Archers in terms of offensive productivity in the second half. Of note here were former whip snakes for the Water Dogs, really. Drenner, Snyder, Kelly, both all scored twice, except Kelly, who got the hat trick. Kieran McCardle, former Atlas, scored twice, and in addition to Ben McIntosh. So you obviously have the whip snake guys' offense of note there. They were super good last year, and they're super good again this year. No surprise there. Moving on to the Atlas here, a little bit longer of a list for them. Like I said, it was a tale of two halves. Slightly disappointing at the face-off dot to start the game. But once Ryan Brown had scored his 2 goals, leading into that Eric Law 4-goal streak, it kind of showed that winning face-offs is super beneficial just to your transition game and then to getting goals right off the break. You had, I believe it was all of Eric Law's goals and one of Ryan Brown's goals basically came from the possession following a Trevor Baptiste face-off win. So that's just something to note there, that the Atlas offense benefits a lot from having that first possession and being able to have the ball right off that face-off, just kind of get some momentum going. We'll switch over to their defense, what seemed to be a bigger issue, obviously without Tucker Durkin. Ton of slides and communication errors. It looked like their slides, it was basically either overcommitting or bust for them. If they didn't overcommit, there was no slide. That just seemed to be the way it went. And Drew Snyder and Kelly obviously come to mind there when it comes to taking advantage of those mistakes. Another thing that kind of started in in the defensive area of the field for the Atlas was just passing, specifically on their clears leading into their fast breaks. It was just pretty poor, led to a lot of turnovers. Each team had 17 turnovers, but it seemed to affect the Atlas a little bit more than it did the Water Dogs. That also kind of leads into a lousy transition play for the Atlas, specifically defense to offense. But again, getting back on and riding on that Water Dogs fast break was something that Atlas didn't do very well. Continuing on defensively, I spoke about Kinken's a little bit earlier, and his late game heroics were pretty relevant and pretty prevalent today. He was lights out there in the fourth quarter, letting in 0 goals, and he definitely showed why he's one of the best goalies in the league, and the best goalie when it comes to shots within 5 yards, stuffing several Water Dogs throughout that entire game. Moving over to offense here a little bit, Rob Pennell really stuck out here. 3 assists and a goal on the day in his debut. The Atlas offense seemed to really kind of run through him, not with him at the ball or having the ball all the time, but it seemed a majority of the time, at least in the first half, it was Pennell pass, which led to a shot, which led to a goal, or some combination of that. And that groove with Pennell really came into fruition in the fourth quarter there when the Atlas got on a run, and ended up taking the win over the Water Dogs. So it's definitely interesting to see the dynamic that Atlas will have tomorrow against the Archers, because that defense, I believe, is to be slightly more. The Archers' defense is slightly more recognizable or dangerous, I guess, than the Water Dogs. But depending on how the Atlas offense can adjust and just get better, is something of note. Last note I have here is the penalties for the Atlas. They had 5 penalties to Water Dogs 0, and the Water Dogs scored, I believe, on 2 or 3 of those man-up situations for them. So definitely something that the Atlas can improve on, is taking less penalties, because it only serves to hurt them. Definitely has been shown that taking these penalties would have been or led to this close game, and that without them, it would have been a different game, most likely in Atlas's favor. Players of note here for the Atlas, obviously you have Eric Law, big game, 4 goals. Of course, you have to talk about Pennell, 3 assists in the goal. That was pretty big. Cloutier coming off the bench was big. Late game heroics from him as well, with 2 very, very helpful goals for the Atlas. And then obviously Brian Costabile, first goal as the second overall pick in the college draft. So that's pretty much it for Water Dogs Atlas. Tomorrow we have Redwoods Chaos and Atlas Archers, which are to be 2 very, very interesting games. We'll see Redwoods Chaos try to get revenge, try to get a win in this 4-game series that they'll be playing, not against each other, but in the championship series. And then Atlas Archers being their first game, and Atlas trying to prove upon what happened today. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. And as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I would imagine Ben will be with us tomorrow along with Brendan. So look forward to that. And I'll see you guys next time.